Hey, what is up, you guys? Good afternoon. This is Ashley Campbell, Daily Encouragement. So, I wanted to take a few minutes and share with you guys some things that I've been learning about the legislative branch. Um, I have been working on teaching myself about all the different branches of government. And I want to share some things I learned with you guys today when I was at the library. And I think this is really, really important, being that we've got the 2022 election coming up November 8th, right? That's what they say, November 8th on here. For some reason, I thought it was the 4th, but November 8th is what Google's pulling up here. So November 8th is the election, you guys. It says all 435 seats in the House of Representatives and 35 out of the 100 seats in the Senate will be contested, meaning you guys are going to pick new people if you get your butts out there and vote. And so I want to talk to you guys about this branch because, to be honest with you, I didn't understand it. I'm still learning it. And so let me tell you guys what I'm doing to fill my knowledge gaps. So I go to the library with my kids every single week. I went into the children's section of the library and I looked for their history books. Okay. So super basic, how the executive branch works, how the legislative branch works, and then how the judicial branch works. And I'm taking notes. I got the legislative branch done and the executive branch done, and I'm taking my own notes. Once I get a good basis for that, then I can move up, right? It's kind of like learn how to read. You have to learn the alphabet first, and then you learn the sounds, and then you start putting words together. It's the same concept with learning stuff like this with government. A lot of times we don't approach it because it seems very overwhelming. It seems really complex. The best thing to do is get a kid's book and read it. Breaks it down super simple and easy. And so I want to share with you guys today what I learned in the legislative book, because there was some stuff that I did not know that I thought we all need to know, especially since we are the adults running this country, right? So I'm just going to share my notes with you guys. And if this was helpful, be sure to share the video because I'm really passionate about God and government. And, I'll tell you what, 2020 definitely opened my eyes to my ignorance and my need to understand these things. So check this out. I'm just going to share my notes with you guys and I'm going to get off here. Okay. Legislative branch. What do? Suggest and make laws. Okay. Now, the judicial branch makes sure that the laws are created by the legislative branch are fair, right? So they check the legislative branch. The judges do. Okay. So 535 people in the U.S. government make laws. So 435 of them is your House of Representatives. The other 100 is your senators. Okay. Now that makes up Congress. I remember I talked to my husband just like a month ago and I was like, babe, what the heck is Congress? What's the difference? Like, is Congress its own branch? Like, what is that? I'm serious, you guys. And it was like, no, it's just a general term for the House of Representatives and the senators. That's it. So when you hear Congress, it's talking about both branches of the legislative branch. Okay. I did not know that. I was like, what do you mean? People call themselves a congressman. And they're like, well, what the heck's the difference between a congressman and a senator and a representative? Right? That's how my mind went. I'm very detailed when it comes to thinking. So I'm like, what does this mean? Anyway. Okay. So executive branch can come up with an idea for a law, but the legislative branch can vote against it. Okay. So Congress makes up the legislative branch. There are two groups. We just talked about the senators. There are 100 senators in the Senate. Okay. House of Representatives, that's the second one. They're made up of 435 representatives. Okay. The number of representatives in each state depends on their population. And so I learned something today that I'm trying to see what year it was. Okay. So in 1789, it says first House and Senate was elected. There's only 13 states. Okay. 1789. There was less than 4 million people at the time in the U.S. Okay. It had 26 senators. The House had 65 members. It says the population began to grow so rapidly, so a law was created to limit the number in the House of Representatives to 435. So that's the max. It's 435. They had to make a law, which I'm kind of like, I don't know if I agree with that or not. As the population grew, it's like, shouldn't we have more representatives? Now I understand, obviously, you could probably have, 1,000 people in there and that could get really overwhelming. But it's like, you better make sure that those 435 people in there, if that's the max we can ever have, regardless of the population, we better make sure the people are in there are really supporting American values and what you value at the end of the day, right? You better know what you value. So, okay. So yeah, that's when they made a limit on the House of Representatives. That was 1789. I did not know that. As of 2017, Now there's more than 300 million Americans. I don't know what the population is now, you guys. Maybe somebody could share that in the comments sometime. But obviously, the population has grown tremendously since then. So let me continue. Senators. Do you guys know how long a senator serves for? 6 years. I didn't know that. I had no idea. Now, the U.S. Constitution doesn't limit a senator's number of terms. Every 2 years, 1/3 of the senators is up for re-election. So when you guys check out the 2022 election, that's what it says. So all 435 seats are going to be open this year. That's in the House of Representatives. And then 35 out of 100 are going to be open for vote. And the reason they do that is, so what does it say? That way, everybody, you don't have to vote for everybody all at once. So they split up the senators. So a senator's term is 6 years. So think about it like this. Whoever you guys are picking for your senator in whatever state, because that's a question I had was, how do they determine which states then are going to be up for re-election, right? Because there's 2 senators per state. There's 50 states. If it's only every 2 years, 1/3, so 35 of them are getting switched out, which states are switching out their senators, right? Do they have like a set time for that, like set states, or, do they like have a certain group of states that switch out their senators every 2 years and just keep it rotated? Like, I don't know. That's just what I was wondering. Okay. Representatives, they serve 2-year terms not limited by the Constitution. All face re-election every 2 years. So you guys better get your butts out there and vote, because we've got 435 representative seats that are open, and every single American that can vote better get out and vote. You guys better figure it out, because from what I've heard, now I don't know, I'm not exactly sure how this can work, but I've heard how like the current administration would want to use all of the illegals that are coming in, try to make it legal for them to be able to vote. You guys, that is not a good idea. There are a lot of people that are coming into this country who don't understand our country and how it works. And the only reason they would vote for certain people as out of ignorance and like, oh, okay, look, they gave me an Xbox. They gave me a food stamp card, right? They gave me some healthcare. They gave me some things I didn't have from my other country. But, I can tell you right now from the people I've talked to, a lot of people that are running from these countries don't want to live in the same space they're running from. And so they don't understand that the people that are bringing them over here the way they are the ones that they don't want to vote for. Okay. So, that's kind of a bummer, but that's what they do. They manipulate the masses, right? And they take advantage of people's ignorance. And, anyway, but you guys better get your butts out and vote. Okay. So government looks at number of reps in every state every 10 years. That is why they do a census. I never used to fill those out. I was like, they don't need to know how many people are living in my house. You know what I mean? Like super paranoid type stuff. But now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, that's why they do that census every 10 years, because, they need to determine if a state is going to get more representatives or lose some. And that's the other thing too. If there's only a limit of 435, how does the state get more representatives, and how does another one determine? I mean, because what if the population's growing just from people having children, not just from people necessarily migrating from one state to another? You guys get what I'm trying to say? So that's the other thing too, they say if a state grows its population, they can get more reps, but the reps have already been maxed out. So it's kind of like, how does that even work? I'm not sure. But that's the function of the census every 10 years is for that. Okay, it says whichever party. Now, this stuff I'm about to share with you guys was super interesting. Okay, so bear with me. It says whichever party has the most reps and senators is called the majority party. Okay, most people know that, right? Okay, so it says the Senate and House each has its own leader. Who is the Speaker of the House right now? Basically, the Speaker of the House is the leader of the House of Representatives. Who is our current leader in the House of Representatives right now? Nancy Pelosi. She's been there forever. And oh my gosh, I wish she had an expiration date. You get what I'm saying? But yeah, she is the leader of the House of Representatives. And so wherever there's a majority, okay, so if the House of Representatives is mostly like Republican or Democrat, let's just say they're mostly Republican, right? Because I'm going to be voting, I'm more considered Republican if anything. I wish sometimes it's kind of hard these days, because some Republicans are rhinos and some Republicans are this or that. So I really don't like the titles, but I am definitely on the conservative side. And so therefore that would be voting Republican. Okay. And so if the Senate, if we get mostly Republican people in there, as well as a majority of Republicans in the House of Representatives, we will be the majority party. And that's really what needs to happen right now, in my professional opinion. Okay, so the Senate and House each has its own leader. Okay. The vice president acts as head of the Senate. Okay. Sue's Republican. Hey, I'm going to mention this really quick. Sue had wanted to get one of my sweatshirts, but she was like, I'm going to put not woke on it. So here's my idea, Sue. If I take that red sweatshirt and I put not woke on it, would you, I mean, do you think people would support that? You know, I could try it because I mean, honestly, I told you guys when I made that sweatshirt, it came out during a time where before the word woke had been hijacked by the woke. You get what I'm saying? So now it's like when you wear that sweatshirt, you better have some balls, you know? Because like I was wearing it today and you're kind of like, okay, I know what it says in the back, free from ignorance and misinformation. I'm sure people support that. They see woke on the front. They're like, oh my God, who's this girl? Right? So you think so? Okay, Sue. So what I'm going to do is I will redesign the red one. I'll put not woke on it. And then you tell me how you like it. Anybody else on here that is interested. And you guys tell me if that would be a hit and people would want to buy that. Okay. Let me continue. Okay. So the vice president is the head of the senators. Okay. That's important. Now, the Speaker of the House. Oh, okay. Yeah. The Speaker of the House acts as head of the House. Majority party members elect the Speaker. So in order for you to be the majority of the party, you have to have the majority in the Senate and you have to have a majority in the House of Representatives. And if you are the majority party, they're going to decide who's going to be the Speaker of the House. Obviously, the Democrats are the majority party right now, right? From what I understand, if this is true, that means a majority of Democrats right now have the Senate and a majority of Democrats have the House. That is why Nancy Pelosi is the Speaker, because they have to have a majority of both. Okay. Now, let me see if this is what I want to share with you guys. Oh, I did not know this. Check this out. The Speaker of the House. Okay. So what do? Lead debates in the House, talks directly with the president. I don't really think Nancy Pelosi needs to be talking directly with the president. Good grief. That woman's horrible. The Speaker, check this out. The Speaker is the second in line for the presidency. The Speaker would become president if something happened to the president and vice president. Did you guys know that? Did you guys know if the president died or something happened and the vice president died and something happened, whoever the Speaker of the House is would become president? Could you guys imagine Nancy Pelosi being president? Oh my God. Good Lord. I did not know that, but I learned that today in this book. And I was sitting there and I was like, oh my God, Lord Jesus. So you guys be very careful. This is why we have to be very knowledgeable about these things. And we have to know who we're putting in office because they have this type of power that most people don't know about. I didn't know about that, you guys. It really just like surprised me. All right. Now, this is some stuff you guys probably already know. So the president, he appoints people of the cabinet. This is another video I can do separately. I learned about the executive branch. And did you guys know? So you guys know the cabinet, right? The cabinet is the advisors to the president. And basically what that means, if there's 15, right now, there's 15 people in his cabinet. That means that there's 15 groups. And each person, the secretary, is the one that works directly with the president. Okay. There are 15 departments right now, 15 people that are secretary that work with the president. Okay. And I can share with you guys some other time what those 15 departments are. Okay. I thought it was kind of interesting. And it's really important who are in those positions as well, because, and that's how I think a president sometimes can try to act like he's not in control, because he says, oh, I'm listening to my advisors. You guys better know who's advising, our leaders, right? Who is the secretary of all those people on those cabinets? They are the ones that are advising the president of the United States. And, I think what I'll do one day is I'm going to get on the computer and I'm going to look up the secretary who would be the, advisor of each one of those 15 departments. and get some names, right? Because we need to know this. They're the ones that are telling the president what to do, or they're not saying they're telling the president, they're advising him. We need to know who these people are. Okay. And then it says, okay, so you guys know that the president, he appoints people to his cabinet. He can also appoint justices to the Supreme Court, right? A lot of people know that. Okay, Congress can accept or turn down the president's appointees. So this is why, our senators and our House of Representatives are important, because if they don't like who the president put in on the Supreme Court and they don't like who is sitting in his cabinet, they can turn it down. Have you guys noticed that none of our senators and representatives have turned any of those people down? Seriously. It's like we still have a really crappy Supreme Court, I believe, and we still have a really crappy cabinet that's advising this president. It's funny. I forget what scripture I was reading yesterday. Oh, that's what it was. Bear with me, you guys, because I thought of a certain individual as I was reading this, and I'm just going to go ahead and share it because, since we're talking God and government, why not, right? So this was in, I think it was Matthew. Okay. I've been doing mini podcasts this week, and I was in Matthew, I think it was 13. Oh, what was it? I was talking about hypocrisy, and Jesus was talking about, being careful. What is done in the dark will be brought to the light. And he said something about whatever is said in the inner ear in the inner room will be proclaimed in the rooftops or something. And all I could think about was Obama speaking in Biden's ear. And I thought, man, Lord, if that's going on, that'll even be exposed too. Whoever's talking in Biden's ear, who's ever telling him what to do in these private chambers at the White House, guess what? It's all going to be heard one day. So anyway, I can't find the scripture, and I don't want to burn too much time looking for it, you guys, but it made me think about that. So if you come across, when Jesus is talking about not being a hypocrite, whatever's done in the dark will be brought to the light. And then when it says whatever's said in the ear, the inner room, I thought of whatever so-and-so is saying to the president, they're going to be exposed. Okay. Is there anything else I want to share with you guys? They were talking a little bit about the history of the legislative branch. That was kind of interesting to me because I finished a book with my kids that was talking about, the creation of the U.S. Constitution when it was formed. And so that was interesting to me. And so I took a bunch of notes on that. But yeah, you guys. And then, of course, I learned about the legislative process as far as writing a bill. I'll probably do a separate video on that sometime because I didn't know the process of writing a bill and what that looks like. And I think we should know that because I don't know about you guys, looking at just this process alone, if you look at, the legislative branch, and you guys know how it says that there's no term limits with senators or representatives. Don't you guys think that we should have a bill that puts limits on some of our senators and representatives, especially when you get to the point we have with the corruption, right? I mean, at some point we do need to have it. I think the problem, or how can I say this? Years ago, the moral fabric of this country was people had morality, okay? And therefore, you had a lot more people of integrity. Well, as time has gone on, you guys, let's be honest, that has died down. We don't have a lot of people that have a bunch of integrity anymore. It's like, I don't even know if that's valued in our culture as far as people having good character, good qualities, right? That sort of died down, even though, and that's the other thing too, is I believe the founding fathers even said that our U.S. Constitution can't survive without anybody having character and qualities, right? And then it says that we're supposed to be relying on divine providence. Well, guess what? We've taken both of those things out of the equation, right? So now you got a bunch of, people who don't pursue character traits. They don't think it's a big deal, right? Even though it's funny how we can hit roadblocks in our life and just be like, I'm not where I want to be. But it's like, wait a second. Have we taken full responsibility for our character in our life? Character is everything, you guys. And it was a big part of this culture a long time ago. Well, now I think we need to have term limits because we have people who don't have character, right? And if we're going to have people in office, we better make sure they do. But you guys get what I'm trying to say? It's different these days in that way. Not to say that we shouldn't be pushing that, we should be encouraging our culture to be people who pursue character, right? But gosh, we are in such a mess right now. It's so many things. There's so many arguments. Oh, Ashley, that's relative and right? There's nothing concrete for people anymore, So I think, we need to have those limits on people just because we need to set limits on evil behavior. But anyway, I just wanted to share this with you guys. These are some things I learned about the legislative branch. Like I said, the most interesting thing that I got out of this was if the president and the vice president were both to croak and kick rocks, then the speaker of the house would become president. God help us all. So you guys get your butts out there and vote. We've got all 435 seats open in the House of Representatives. 35 seats open for the senator. As it says, sorry guys. A senator term is 6 years. That's a long time to long suffer with some of these people. We got to choose wisely. I think it's really important. I hope you guys, look up your local candidates, get connected with a group of people out here. We got We the People, and we have meetings every month. And on their website, it has a list. They've went to the extent of listing the candidates, what they're about. I mean, they've given you everything you could possibly need. And I'm sure there's all those different kind of groups all across the United States, right? So if you don't know something, don't be afraid to ask. You guys, there's a lot of things I don't know. I'm just ask questions. Find out who your representatives are right now. Who are your senators? What are you guys going to be voting on? If you don't know, ask. That's okay. If we want to take our country back, we got to start educating ourselves. So I need to learn more about this too. Yes, so do I, Sue. And that's why I'm super excited. I'm going to be doing biblical citizenship classes. And I wish I could find a way to do it online, and just host the classes online. But the problem with me doing that is if I left them free and people kept sharing them, a lot of people wouldn't make any money on it because, people can buy some of the books and everything that's mentioned. And, that would take away from a lot of the coaches. There's like 10,000 coaches right now for it. And so I'm a free coach right now, but I haven't really done anything with it. I would love to just do stuff kind of like in my local city with it, but I would love to do stuff online. I guess I can do Zoom. I can do classes on Zoom. So if anybody would be interested in that, at some point I can host an online Zoom class. You guys would give me your email and then you guys would watch it with me. And in the email, you guys would actually get a digital, what is it? It's like a notebook. I wish I had my copy on me. It's my daughter's actually, but it has a bunch of information in it on top of the Constitution. And then they had a lawyer guy go through it and kind of break it down into layman's terms for people. So when they actually read it, they can understand it. So you guys would get that for free. It would get emailed to you in your email. And so I will definitely let you guys know. Sue, you might be interested in it down the road. I think you probably would if you want to learn more about it. I definitely do. I'm going to go through this biblical citizenship with my whole family. And then I want to go through it online with you guys. So my plan is once this book contract is paid for and I got the whole book thing done, once the book thing is done, then I'm going to start working on the biblical citizenship stuff. And then I would love to do at least some Zoom classes. The person who's been helping me with this, she knows a lot about it. And I'm going to talk to her about it. That's the stuff I could do online, is something on Zoom. I couldn't do live videos or anything. It wouldn't work. It would take away from some of the other coaches and I don't want to do that to them. So anyway, yeah. And I'll let everybody know once that happens, but I just wanted to share this with you guys. I hope this was helpful. This was totally helpful for me. It was basic, but I was like, I need to know this and I need to understand this. And I wanted to share it with you guys because that's going to help me retain it. And I hope it was helpful for you guys and encourage you guys to get out and vote and, kind of understand what exactly is happening here. Right. So, okay, you guys, thank you for watching. Have an awesome rest of the day. And I will see you guys on Friday.